Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank the National Energy Administration, China Renewable Energy Engineering Institute and Hainan Provincial Government for providing us the opportunity to speak digitally at the China-Europe Floating Offshore Wind Cooperation Forum here in Hainan City in Hainan Province. Offshore wind is an important form of renewable energy and it plays a vital role in the energy transition. In May this year, our Consulate General in Guangzhou, together with the Netherlands Embassy in Beijing, the Consul General in Shanghai and our Trade Support Office in Nanjing, organized a digital trade mission to China. 13 Dutch offshore wind companies actively participated in the offshore wind track and presented their technologies, equipment and solutions. During this event, we introduced our country's target to reach 21 gigawatt of operating offshore wind capacity around 2030. This will help us meet the EU's current goal of reducing CO2 emissions by 55% by 2030 compared to the 1990 levels. The rapid offshore wind developments presented us with opportunities, but also with challenges. Currently, most offshore wind turbines are installed on bottom-fixed foundations. Since space for bottom-fixed offshore wind farms is limited, the offshore wind industry needs to move to new territories, further offshore and in harsher environments or seabed conditions. In deep waters and for installations with very large wind turbines, floating structures present a logical alternative. The Netherlands does not have floating offshore wind projects at this moment, because our current planned projects are not that far offshore. But we do have very good supply chain to serve floating wind projects internationally. Here we have a schedule of the Dutch floating wind supply chain. It varies per project development, and at the end we have the end-of-life solutions. Everything in between, such as technology development, supply, transport and installation, operation and maintenance, should be integrated by integral project design. In parallel, there's quite a number of R&D going on in the Netherlands, including education and training tailored for the needs of the future's workforce. First of all, let's look at R&D. MARIN and TNO, two institutions that are deeply involved in modeling and testing of floating offshore wind installations. A second element in the supply chain is project development, including financing. In the Netherlands, there are two companies that have already been developing floating wind initiatives. These are Green Giraffe and Shell. The next element of the supply chain is the engineering and technology development. Some of the most prominent companies here are SBM Offshore, Gusto MSC, NOV, Blue H Engineering, Blue Water and Monobase Wind. Another part of the engineering is the anchoring technology and mooring. Companies like Vrijhof, DSM Protective Materials and Fibermax are active in this field. And we have two wind turbine developers and manufacturers that are seriously looking into the applications of floating wind, 2B Energy and Seawind Ocean Technology. Transport and installation is crucial. Boskalis was responsible for the transport activities in the Kincardine offshore wind project. IKEEP was involved as subcontractor in the Hywind project in Norway. Dutch transport and installation companies such as Mammoet and Huisman have already set their footsteps in the floating wind direction as well. With the goal to develop the Dutch floating wind supply chain fully sustainable, some studies and researches are being carried out in the Netherlands in order to find possible end-of-life solutions. To achieve such an ambitious target and to tackle industrial challenges, a lot of investment is needed in innovation that does not just focus on the Dutch market, but also on the international markets. Now this brings us to today's event. China's offshore wind power capacity has increased more than any other country in the past 3 years. The first floating wind project is currently operating in Yangjiang City, in Guangdong Province, which is one of the best examples of the Chinese innovation approach. We are very glad that we had speakers from Three Gorges and Mingyang Smart Energy to present this successful project at the Sino-Dutch Floating Wind Development Trend webinar, organized by our Consulate General last April. Although today's conference is about floating offshore wind, we also would like to address further possibilities, like producing hydrogen from offshore wind. As we already noticed, when the offshore wind project is far away, we need to find other solutions to transfer this energy to the shore. Hydrogen could provide a good solution. One of the upfront projects in the Netherlands is called Hainan, which is the world's first offshore green hydrogen plant, an initiative of Next Step, the Dutch Association for Decommissioning and Reuse, and TNO, the Netherlands Organization for Applied Scientific Research, in close cooperation with the industry. The green hydrogen production is expected to start end of 2022. Last but not least, we would like to emphasize the ecological aspects of offshore wind projects. For a province with such a beautiful coastline like Hainan, biodiversity and nature protection are important topics while developing offshore wind. We have already included mandatory requirements for offshore wind projects to meet biodiversity standards in the Netherlands. These requirements are developed to protect the sea environment as well as to protect bird life. We are most interested to engage with Hainan Province to share our experiences in developing policy and research methodology on this topic. Finally, I believe that this event is very timely, as this year we are celebrating 50 years of diplomatic relations between China and the Netherlands at ambassadorial level. Globally, floating wind turbines are expected to form a significant part of the global offshore wind foundations market. Today's conference not only serves to take stock of past results, but it will also set the tone for future cooperation in the field of offshore wind and floating between our two countries. Much research is being done worldwide, and I truly believe that this conference will be an important stepping stone for further bilateral and multilateral knowledge exchange and future exploration. Now, if you're interested in talking to Dutch companies and knowledge institutes, we are more than happy to make these connections. I wish you all a very interesting and a fruitful day. Thank you. 谢谢。